Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Ryder Sigety. I'm a 3-time national GNCC champion and a Yamaha factory support off-road AmPro racer. This is the Baldwin Trail Riders NYOA 2023 in, I forget, somewhere in PA. And I'm here with my dad, Mike Sigety. Dad, say hello.
Hello, this is Ryder's dad, Mike, and factory racer rider. Wasn't in PA, but it was close to PA. It was actually in New York, but yes, it's very close there. Factory rider shows up, walks out the door, and goes, "Point me in a direction. Let's ride."
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. This race was weird because there were some spots that were almost dusty, and then there were other spots that were really muddy. And you can't tell on the camera how muddy it is, but the mud was just like a slick, really difficult mud to get through. You see behind me, I'm pretty sure is NYOA Bass. He's just sliding all over. And behind NYOA is Lucas Hoffman, who in a couple minutes you're going to see make a pass, which is really cool because I don't know who's behind me during the race, but once I get to look back at this footage, I get to see a lot of passes going on. I just think it's like a whole different perspective that I and you guys don't usually get to see.
Yeah, I try to pedal a track with Ryder, and we try to pedal the youth race, which is what he's doing here, and then we try to youth track, and then we try to pedal the adult track. And it was the first time ever since we've been using e-bikes, which is about 3.5 years now, that the track was so muddy and so long that the e-bikes didn't even have enough power to do one full lap. I don't want to sound like a guy who's always disagreeing with Ryder, but I'm going to say if there was any dust, it was like 1% dust because it was muddy, and it doesn't look it so much in the video, but you'll see later. The bike came back totally full of mud. I hope you guys like that backwards footage or back-facing camera footage because it's a lot more work and pain than you think it might be. First of all, having a camera back there, if he falls and hits the ground, which we all do, he's not even going to know if he lost it to pick it up. And the second thing is when he's doing his editing, the back camera mic is completely different than the front camera mic, picking up a lot more sound. So to adjust the sound in the video here, he's got to constantly play with going back and checking each footage, watch. Just to watch the footage is 3 hours of watching it, then pulling out the pieces you need, not knowing where to start at each piece. So the back camera definitely is a lot of work, but I think the footage is really good. So back to the mud. Today was really different on a lot of respects, and you'll see there's kids stuck and reroutes. But Ryder decided to do the adult race right after, not right after, maybe 2 hours after the youth race, and that adult race was so tough that over 100 racers did one lap or less, and his laps were averaging close to an hour to do a lap. So they did a really good job, the club or the promoter here, making a youth course that was very rideable for the youth. But one of our friends ran out of gas and still managed to finish like 7th overall because it was tough to do enough laps. But I feel like I'm talking out my butt here because the course does look really nice.
Right here, I was debating whether to go over this log or go around it, because around it was kind of fast. It was definitely slower, but if you went around it, there was a good chance you'd get past if someone went over it. So I ended up going over the log, and it really wasn't terrible. Coming up, I round the corner, and this is a huge mud hole that I wasn't expecting. And I tried to turn away from it right up here, but once I realized that I couldn't, I just tried to wheelie it, and I definitely, I couldn't wheelie it as much as I would have liked to, and I just soaked my gloves and everything. Right there, you guys saw me, I slide out, and Lucas Hoffman passes me, so now I'm in second, Lucas is in first, and NYOA Bass is still in third, but I think he's a little bit ways back, and I just completely get lost by Lucas right away. I was like, oh my god, this kid's dropping me. but I ended up catching him. It's a little blurry, but he runs into one of the hay bales. I guess you didn't see it. They kind of blend in, I guess. But he runs into one of the hay bales, and now we're back in the lead.
Yeah, I hate to use blurry or muddy footage, but that was worth showing. And Lucas rode a really good race. You guys go back and forth quite a bit, so this is going to be a good video for sure. And man, is he lucky, right? Like, this race took us 4 hours, 4.5 hours each way, $200-300 in gas. He's like 20 minutes from the race. How lucky is that? I wish we had a race 20 minutes from us.
Yeah, I think the closest race I've ever been to is still like an hour and a half, maybe. Probably even more than that. Right here, you see me making a couple mistakes. Once we switch back to the back camera in a little bit, you're gonna see how close, since Noah had caught back up to me, or Lucas Hoffman caught back up to me, you're gonna see how close he was to passing me each time. We were just like weaving in and out of each other.
So a couple of unusual things about this race is it went back to your 8 a.m. start time, which you haven't really done since GNCCs, because we've been doing D6 and ECA, and they start later in the day. So that was weird, racing at 8 a.m. And the temperature was actually 59 degrees, which was really cold and made me a little nervous with our jetting, because we're still running hot summer jetting.
Coming up pretty soon, my old NYOA competitor at this series, Cooper Davis, points the top 3 of us a line. They really avoided a pretty bad mud hole, which is cool. See him right there. He's pointing us which way to go.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and he's doing really well this year. He was in your class last year at NYOA, and now he's running 250A and finishing top 10 overall. So good for him.
Yeah, definitely. Look at all the roost just coming from my back tire. Of course, right when I say that, though, the roost kind of goes away. Right here, look, Lucas Hoffman makes the pass on Noah Bass, and now Lucas is in second. And he's on the hunt to try to pass me, which he does. We go back and forth a lot in this race, so make sure you guys keep watching.
Yeah, and of course, I'm going to say this, but like I said, Ryder spends a ton of time making these videos, and the only thing that you could do that would really be helpful is if you can like, subscribe, and comment. Even if it's like I'm commenting because your annoying dad keeps asking me to, which would be fine, I don't care. Actually, it makes me laugh when I see that comment. But any comment at all about anything, whether your motorcycle, your gear, the race, would really help Ryder, so please comment. And by the way, one thing about this particular series is they run all the youth together, so it was pretty cool that they do that. So right here, there's almost a pass, right?
Oh yeah, this is where I was talking about earlier, where I was making those mistakes, and Lucas, he's right on my butt, and he keeps taking opposite lines trying to pass me, but he didn't make the pass there, not yet at least.
So one really good thing about this particular NYOA series, and there's a lot of good things you could say about the NYOA series, is you could see it's not just single track, one line. Now personally, that's what I like to ride, but when it comes to racing hare scrambles, you do need lines to be able to get around people. And they have them here, which is really interesting, because when you're leading, if it's single track, you could, and if someone's on your tail, you could kind of just slow it down and ride safe, because then what happens is, you're not risking the situation of falling and getting passed. When I say slow it down, not to a crawl, there's that log again. And you can't really tell from the backwards camera, but if you look in the front camera, there is a ton of sticks, big sticks, branches down before that. And here it is. Look, see all those sticks? It did go to the right of them a little bit that time, but and it's slippery. Everything's wet. It rained a lot on Thursday. As a matter of fact, again, had to be towed in to the race. I saw a lot of people towed in. Oh, this was gnarly right here.
Yeah, you see all those kids stuck on the left, but the course workers made a nice line to the right that Lucas and I took, and you'll see in coming up in the race, even though we took it, it almost seemed like we didn't take it again. I'll explain later.
So another interesting thing about the NYOA series is all day long they are running 2 races at the same time. 2. The quads are racing on one side of the mountain and the dirt bikes are racing on the other. And they have 2 sets of scoring, 2 sets of course workers, 2 sets of everything going on at the same time, all on one day. It's a lot going on, but they pull it off. One thing that also sticks in my mind about that guy Cooper, or Kid Cooper Davis, who was pointing out the line to you, is that I remember the first time you raced him at Broome Tioga, and you beat him that day, and he said to us very nicely, he goes, "Man, if I would have known you were that close, I wouldn't have pushed so hard," because he had to go race the big bike race after. And like, he didn't really need to win. He was dominating the series. He pretty much had the championship locked up, barring an accident. And I was kind of thinking about that on this day for you, because this was also your first time racing 2 races in the same day. You've done 2 races on the weekend. Oh.
Yeah, right there I got held up by a lapper a little bit. Not his fault. He was trying to move out of the way from me, but I was on the side he was moving to, which seems to happen a lot actually. But it's fine. But Noah makes a pass, or Lucas makes a pass. I don't know why I keep mixing up these names. Lucas makes a pass, and I'm back in the second.
So being that we haven't raced any NYOA races this year, we had no idea who was going to be the fastest person or fastest people, fastest kids there. And definitely Lucas gave you a run for your money this day. That was really, really impressive. And one thing I noticed about in my days of racing, like I at one point I was AA, and there used to be friends who would come riding with me who were B riders, and they would stay with me as B riders, and until they made a mistake. And what I kind of came to the conclusion is that the difference between an A and a B rider, or a AA and an A rider, not necessarily the speed, but how long can you go without making a mistake. And that's usually the difference. And man, these kids were not making mistakes. They were all right there with you, or you were all making the same amount of mistakes.
Yeah. So pretty much my whole life, since a really long time ago, I raced the youth event on Saturday, and then not the youth event on Saturday, but I usually whenever I race 2 races, they're on separate days. So I went up to sign up to get my trophy. I said, "Can I get my trophy from yesterday?" And the lady at sign up looked at me and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And she didn't say that. She said, "I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean." I said, "From yesterday, I raced a youth event yesterday." And she said, "I'm sorry, we didn't have any races yesterday." I wasn't arguing with her completely, but I kept trying to like, I was so sure that I was right, and then I thought about it. I was like, wait, no, that was this morning. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize. It was, I don't know, it's just an awkward, it's so awkward.
Yeah, many years ago, you used to do 2 races in a row on ECA, but we haven't done that in a long time. So yeah, that was a bit unusual too. So wait till you see the other video Ryder's going to produce of the adult race. It was really tough. Over 100 people did 1 lap or 0 laps. They didn't even complete a lap. And what should have been a 30-minute lap time, which is their goal at NYOA, took Ryder almost an hour to do the first lap. And after he went by, I said, "Oh my God, if it's taking him this long to do 1 lap, he's going to run out of gas before he comes back here for the second lap." So it was a real nail biter. And speaking of running out of gas, this race also ran overtime too. And not by a lot, but enough that people were getting concerned that they were going to run out of gas, and some people did. So I actually tried to stop you, put my hands out and said, "Let me look at your gas," but it was a crazy moment and you went right by, so I figured, okay. Now, the race only ran 1 hour and 8 minutes when it should have ran an hour, which really isn't that much, but when you start to budget, okay, I don't need a full tank for only an hour, and then it's like, okay, it's gonna run an extra 8 or 10 minutes because you didn't know. You're like, I hope that's enough. But man, playing the gas game is a scary thing. We really gotta stop doing that, though it hasn't bitten us since the time me, forgot to fill your tank at an enduro.
This section right here, I don't know why, maybe it's, I like turning a lot. I feel like I'm pretty good at turning. I felt like I was really fast on this section. And even though I was going pretty fast, I definitely couldn't have gone as fast. I mean, without the Kenda tires, they were hooking up so well. Even in the mud, it felt like I was hooking up better than everyone, where other people were sliding all over, and I just had the traction to get through it.
Yeah, those Kenda tires definitely work good. And the turnout was pretty good also at this race. They had 100 youth racers. I think it was like 98 to be exact, which I looked at the results at J-Day, and it was about the same, so they're getting a pretty good turnout. J-Day's another really large local series, and there's definitely some good competition here. Another really good thing about this race is they use a lot of ribbon in the woods, and that's really nice to have the course so defined like that. And maybe not so much this area, that was nasty, this area that I'm talking about right here, but you definitely saw a lot of ribbon in the woods, and that's a lot of work for the promoter to take all that ribbon down, but it just really clears things up and defines the course for you. And once again, a lot of people came up to us this weekend and said they liked the videos and they watched the videos, and it's always nice to hear that. Thank you very much. And actually, a few fans are going to be in the video in our next one, which is probably going to take a couple days to produce. So make sure you subscribe so you're notified. That's definitely going to be a gnarly race. It was really, really tough. And you got banged up in that one a little bit. I wasn't so sure you were going to finish. I had to run back to the truck and get you an Advil. But how did that Advil work for you?
It works a lot better than I thought. At the beginning of the lap, when I took the Advil, I was hurting a lot, and then by the end of the lap, I didn't feel as good as new, but I felt like a champ.
Yeah, and it was hard to think, oh my God, how can an Advil work that fast on the same lap? But it was 45-minute, 55-minute lap time, so yeah, it could help.
Nearing the end of this race, I was I felt like my legs were already getting tired, and I was not so hyped for the next 2-hour race, especially if I was already tired from 1 hour. I was like, how am I going to do this for another 2 hours?
Yeah, and this was also supposed to be your first race on a 125/144, right? We signed up for the 200 class, B200 class, and then once we started pedaling the course and we saw it was just constant mud, which again, this course looks awesome right now, but we didn't actually pedal this course. We tried to pedal both courses at the same time. It didn't really work out that well. But yeah, wait till you see tomorrow's race. Like I said, 100 people didn't even complete one lap or only did one lap in tomorrow's race, or the next race video we're going to produce. So you saw Ryder just wipe his lens, which I really appreciate you doing. A lot of these videos, I just can't stand to watch muddy videos. We cut out all the scenes when the mud is on the camera lens. But think about it. You're going as fast as you can, taking your hands off the handlebars to find your camera, which takes a couple seconds. You know how long, if you had a Camelback on, how long it takes sometimes, or a second or two, to find your Camelback hose? Well, it's kind of the same with the camera. Find it, and then take your nice dry glove and wipe mud off it, and now you got your glove muddy. So it's a scary thing to take your hands off the handlebars. Then you mud up your gloves a little more than you wanted. So I really appreciate Ryder doing that for us so we can watch these awesome videos.
You know what I noticed when I was racing this race is I do it by habit, I guess. Each time I wipe the camera, right after I wipe the camera, I wipe my hand on my pants to try to get the mud off. But if my pants were muddy, I was probably just getting my hand more muddy. But I don't know why, I just felt like I was always cleaning my hand like that.
One thing that happened really funny in the video that we're going to produce is Ryder accidentally lined up on the wrong line, and we'll explain how that happened, and not for the better, for the worse. He actually lined up farther back than he was supposed to, and we'll talk about that more in the next video, so stay tuned.
Right here, Lucas goes to the left, and I don't know if you guys remember, but we took this line the lap before, so I'm not sure why he went to the left where that lapper was already stuck, but the course worker pointed me to the right, so I went to the right, and I was able to make the pass there, and that was the last I saw of Lucas. I think he got stuck there for a little while.
Yeah, well, this is getting closer to the end as well, and I did notice when you went around that log, you kind of hugged the log and went right back to the course as fast as possible, so that was also another good thing to do. They say, if the general rules are if there's a jam up, you can do whatever you need to get around it, but you got to get back to the course. So yeah, we really scrambled. We weren't sure what we were going to do this weekend, if we were going to go to the NYOA event or go to Budds Creek National Motocross, which I'm really more of a racer than a spectator, or at least we are racers. Not crazy about missing a weekend of racing to spectate. But I found out you can actually ride at Budds Creek. You can do a practice day, and then we were going to do that. But at the last moment, we decided to come here, and we scrambled to get his 144 ready for this race. And then, yeah, it's just, at least one less bike that needs to be cleaned. So is that the split line right there?
Yeah, they had a little sign that said split line, so you could go to the left, to the right, and I thought they were both pretty good, but I liked the left a little better.
So I don't know if we talked about your results yet, but you did get first overall. winning by 40 seconds, which was pretty close but good. I mean, normally what you do at a race is you get a minute lead and then just kind of back it down to the point where it's safe and maintain that 1 minute lead, and that's usually what I'm telling you on the pit board. But in this race, you really had to work for it today. Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, right there. It was really weird. I had one hand off the handlebar, and I was getting brake chatter, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like where the chain is like, you can hear the chain as you're going into the corner, which is what you want. And I just felt it was like weird doing that with one hand.
So we're getting close to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, we're going to have another really cool video we're going to produce for the second race of the day. It's going to take some time to edit those videos. Like, he's got over 2 hours of racing on the other video on a front camera and a rear camera, and then you got to pull out the good scenes, and you don't know when the good scene starts, so you got to watch it a couple times. Just pulling out the footage alone is going to take some time, and it's getting close to school starting up again, and Ryder is a full-time student, and he needs to get ready for school. So there's a lot going on right now, and unfortunately, we always like to conclude the video if possible with a checkered flag going through the finish, but the camera was a little muddy, and more importantly than showing the checkered flag is I can't stand to watch muddy videos, so we're not going to have that for you. But thanks again for watching. Appreciate you subscribe, and commenting. Whoa, that was close, and hope to see you at our next video.
Yeah, guys, see you in the next one. There's about 30 seconds of footage, but we'll see you in the next one. Bye.